In a world full of distractions, there is one big question on every dog owner's lips.
How do I become more than just the person holding the other end of the leash?
We all get dogs with a dream in mind, a vision of the future. And if right now your everyday reality isn't quite that picture you had in mind, you are in the right place.
It really doesn't have to be this way.
You absolutely can and will be more to your dog than just the person who gets in between them and the world.
The key is you need to be more sexy.
More sexy than the neighbourhood cat.
More sexy than the jogger in the park.
More sexy than that half-eaten hamburger they just found on the floor.
And yes, even more sexy than the dog across the road.
I'm Tom.
And I'm Lauren.
Together we're Absolute Dogs.
And you're listening to the Sexier Than a Squirrel podcast.
Welcome to the Sexier Than a Squirrel podcast, the podcast that arms you with everything you need to be the best dog owner your dog could ever wish for, and it's especially important at this time of year.
Remember the 5th of November, knowing that actually dogs can find this really stressful. Now we can whinge, we can moan, we can get angry, we can protest, we can stomp our feet, we can shake our heads, we can sign petitions, all we like. Right now, sadly, fireworks are still a very big thing. And even when I hear them, and I've got no dogs around me, so I remember being in America with Eliza and hearing fireworks go off, and it was the most beautiful looking display, and yet it fills me with dread. And it fills me with dread because I know what it does to so many dogs, and I know it does it to dogs all over the world. So rather than get us stressed, depressed, downright angry, or whatever else we might feel, what can we do about it? Because I think that's the really empowering future. What can we actually do about this? Because there's no point moaning. We can all get stuck in the cycle of complaining. We can all get stuck in the cycle of whinging and getting angry about it. It doesn't do us any good. It does not serve us. It is not good for our energy. No. It absolutely is not a cool thing. So actually, what can we do about it? Yeah, absolutely. And I guess first thing to do is, especially if you're in the UK, get your calendar out, and from, if you were to think about the 5th of November as being the typical historic time when there'd be fireworks, you probably need to add a week before it and 10 days after it, and that's probably going to be the more realistic time frame of when you might expect fireworks. Nobody's sticking to a rigid schedule, and what we don't want is for you to be surprised. Now, then, in that time period, what do you need to be thinking about? Well, first things first, basically don't walk your dog after dark in that time, because you could quite possibly hear a firework, your dog could hear a firework in that time period if you are walking them after it gets dark, which is getting increasingly early, so we need to be prepared for that. And I know that many of you might be thinking, well, that seems really extreme, but actually we hear countless stories of dogs that have, previously been absolutely fine with fireworks. They get spooked by a firework on a walk, they slip their collar, they run and run, it's really difficult to find them again. They're really scared, they don't want to be approached by anyone because they're in that real fight or flight type response. And yet those are dogs that previously might have been totally fine. Don't take it for granted that your dog is going to be fine forever, because these are big, loud noises, and we need to guard their optimism around these things. And I think that this is something worth saying, that I've seen a couple of dogs that have really bolted from owners, and to the point that I've seen, and I've been really surprised by it, and it's a weird one because there's not a lot that surprises Tom or I with dogs really, but it always surprises me how a dog can completely not want to go near their owner when these things have happened. I remember a dog, it was an agility dog, and it went from a venue after hearing a very loud gunshot, very similar to fireworks. For those dogs that are aware of shot, it's often they're aware of all of these things. But actually, what I saw was when the owner did find the dog bolted again. Which for me is insane, because you think it's this long lost like Lassie moment where the dog's going to come bounding and it's going to be like you're reunited and everyone's overjoyed and it's all very happy. No. Like, it's pretty scary. Yeah. It's pretty, it's a major event. And for some dogs, an event they will never really easily get over. And I think the thing is, let's not even get there. Let's prepare to not have this. And let's put all of the things in place that we need, whether that's stuffed Kongs or dark or light rooms, or whether we need music on or music off, or televisions on or televisions off, or whether we've used our calm, which we'll talk about in a minute. All of these things
are in place,
Yeah.
right? We're prepared, we're ready. We are literally not panicky. We are intentional and steady in the knowledge that we know we've got this.
Yeah. So 7 days before the 5th of November, or whatever firework event you know is
Could
part
be New
of
Year.
your part of your culture and your history, right? What we want you to think about is no walks after it starts to get dark. Second thing is we're going to have music on, right? Or we're going to have the TV on.
Radio.
And it's going to be, a decent volume. And that's you don't wait for the firework to go off to then think, okay, I'm going to put the music on. Instead, this is just how the days look right now. And the reason why that is because firstly, you want to avoid that, that first firework being heard, and it's much harder to retrieve your dog if they're already reacting and get them feeling comfortable. But also the second thing is you don't want the loud music or the loud TV to become a predictor of the fireworks happening. So actually what you want to make sure is that you're doing that at times when fireworks aren't necessarily happening.
Those of you that have not seen it, so Brave definitely did this. We would whack music up whenever it was anything happening. We'd always whack it up. So as soon as you whacked it up, she was like, "Oh God, it's now!" And she would start like barking and running around the room. And I was like, "Oh dear Lord, this is what's happened." And so you don't even realise it until it's almost too late. So you're much better off, like Tom said, whack up the radio or the TV or whatever you're going to use, because we were just turning it extra loud whenever there was a loud bang. And actually, what we needed to do is do that intermittently anyway. So intermittently have a bit of a DJ party in your living room or your kitchen or wherever it is your dog hangs out, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so thinking, marking the days on the calendar, being clear about what those days are going to look like. Next thing is you are going to have a freezer full of frozen filled bones, kongs, lickable canine calm mats. You've literally got like an armory of things that you can deploy in that time. And again, really important, you're going to start to give your dogs those things before the fireworks start. A lot of people will say, as soon as my dog starts to react, they refuse food. That's quite understandable. How about if we get them into the eating mindset before they even hear the fireworks, right? And then the fireworks just kind of join the party rather than them joining the party.
Next one, and I think it's valuable. And actually there's a really sad story attached to this one. A lovely student of ours, their dog managed to escape the front door on a child opening the front door. And that dog was in a road traffic accident. For me, everyone in the family needs to be on board with this. So noises and fireworks and all of the different events that, remember, there are more events coming, New Year, and like Tom said, lots of other celebrations depending on your culture. For me, let's get on board now and let's get all the family on board, because for that poor family, that will never be forgotten. And it's a life event that changed their family lives with their dog. For me, I want to know that Eliza knows where the dogs are before she opens the door, that she knows the gate's closed before she opens the front door, that she knows that who's going to be the other side of the door, or the scenarios. What she isn't doing is just taking a chance and rushing, and whether it's windows. I've had a dog, and this was one of my late dogs actually, heard a noise it was the ice cube maker. It was the ice cube maker out of the fridge. And she escaped out of a window and got on the roof, because she really, really was not, it was all around that same period of time. We're talking like 10, 12 years ago. And she literally had too many noises and just went, you know what, I'm out of here. So if dogs want to go, they will go. You need to keep them safe. Your family need to help you with keeping them safe. So whether you've got like a balcony or a windows or anything like that, work out your plan to keep them safe and make sure the family know how to keep them safe, and make sure you've almost got a set of family guidelines, not rules, no one loves rules, but a family set of guidelines. Like these are things we're going to try and do, guys. And if you see this, do this. And Liza's amazing. If she sees, Brave's probably our most noise aware dog. And if she sees Brave like looking at all like trembly or shaky, she's like, Mummy, Brave's doing this. I'm thinking we're going to do this, this and this, and kind of gets involved and gets it done. So that might be, let's make sure that she's not going out off lead, and everybody knows that she's not going out off lead. And if we're going to take her to the toilet, we'll let her out when there's nothing else going on. And sometimes, like Tom said, you will give her a Kong, but other times you might say it's probably too far gone. We're probably too far into this, and she's not even going to take it at this moment. So you can assess that as you go. But I love the idea of having the family on board.
Yeah, absolutely. Next tip is going to be if your dog is showing you that they are coping with it in a certain way, like they're hiding away or they're digging or whatever it might be, actually giving them an opportunity to almost like an outlet for that. Because in the moment, it's going to be really difficult to say, no, I do not want you to cope in this way. I want you to cope in a way that I like. That's not going to be achieved in the moment. We can absolutely change and grow different, more empowering coping strategies, ready for next year. But right now, it's probably about this is what they've picked. And if we try and get into conflict with them, actually, they're going to be feeling a lot worse. They're going to be feeling worried. And they might actually learn negative associations about other things like us in that time. It might spill over. So if your dog's showing you that they want a bit of a den, well, how about we cover their crate, right? And maybe we cover the crate with a few sheets so that actually we're almost dampening out the noise a little bit as well. This isn't a time to work against your dog. And a lot of terrible advice out there says that, you shouldn't comfort your dog because it shows them that they're already, it's something to worry about. You know what? Actually, they're already really, really worried.
So you know what? You're not going to reinforce them in that state, right?
Like they don't want to feel that way.
To push them away and to be hard on them and to shut them away, like just isn't where we need to be right now.
So actively, try things that might make them feel better. They might want a stroke and to be close to you. Some dogs actually might actively hate that in that instance, and they might want to hide away. Well, let's create a really good hiding place for them, because right now we're in the situation, and it's about making that bad picture maybe 10% better. And if you make it 10% better, you are winning, right? You've done a really great job.
Crushing life. Yeah. You are crushing life. I suppose next one, and this would be one that I would say all dogs for me around fireworks night. I just don't ever want to take that it's never going to be a problem, because I've seen dogs be absolutely cool with it up to like 6-7 years old and then suddenly not cool with it. So for me, our dogs are on Calm Canine. Yeah. They may be on it long term, they may be on it short term. I know that everything in it is pretty natural. There's good ingredients there that support my dog's brain, gut, and their training ultimately, because it complements and facilitates my training of my dog. Tell us a bit more, Tom.
Yeah, so even if your dog's not already on Calm Canine, you're going to get benefit from starting it right now, because there's a mix of long-acting and short-acting ingredients in there. And really, what you're thinking about with Calm Canine, it's got so many benefits in this time period, because actually, that stressful event that is fireworks for any dog, even if they're totally cool with it, is impacting their brain well-being, it's impacting their gut well-being, but also it's probably compromising their behavior and how full their bucket is. And so by training and the management strategies that we're talking about, but also by supporting them nutritionally with Calm Canine in their food, you're limiting how bad that experience gets. And actually, for a lot of dogs, you read some of the stories on the AOK9 website. You can read them for yourselves by going to a-ok9.com, and you'll see that actually it's been totally transformational in relation to fireworks for some dogs, going from being very reactive to fireworks to absolutely fine and fast asleep.
And I absolutely notice a difference when Brave is on Calm Canines. Yeah. Like, she is on it pretty much all the time, really, and she's on Senior. So Brave is on the Senior boost. So Senior for dogs over 7 years old. Blink's livid about that idea because she can't believe she fits in as a senior dog. But I think the option of Senior as well, for me, starting it way before the event. But if you didn't know about it way before the event, starting it today. Remember, don't be hard on yourself for what you didn't know. Just get on with what you do. And I think that is way better. It's way better than procrastinating or getting grudgy about it or getting angry or despondent or depressed that you didn't do something. Just do it now. And then keep moving, because guilt doesn't serve us. It definitely doesn't serve our dogs. And I think it's really important we acknowledge this. Now, one thing to also acknowledge here, Tom, is that fireworks don't stop necessarily at fireworks night, because it seems like, I was in Birmingham for last year for fireworks night. I was working with the West Midland Police Force and their dog team. And I have to say, I've never heard anything like it. I was really shocked, because we obviously both Tom and I live in a very rural, quiet, fairly remote village. It's not really even it is a town, but it's pretty we're small spaces.
It's not really, there's not lots of fireworks.
It's not big. And so for me, being in Birmingham, in the middle of the city centre, was a complete shock. It was insane. It was insane. So I think acknowledging that it might be a week, it might be 10 days. I personally wouldn't be walking my dog at any time that I thought that might happen for about 10 days, 2 weeks. Around that period. But there are things we can do with our dogs. So what can you do with your dog? Well, you can play games, right? There are games galore. You can get your dog out to the toilet at good times, and then you can get in and play some games. You've got your Kongs, you've got your lickables, you've got your different calm mats, you've got your bones, you've got all your supplements stuffed in your bones, you've got lots your dog can do. I think people get very worried about what they're not doing. Well, what can you do, right?
Exactly. And the other thing that is a real game changer actually is being aware that we can almost prime our dogs for be more accepting of noises, okay? And that looks like, a week before, and from the moment that they wake up, when a noise happens, no matter how quiet or loud or similar or different to fireworks it is, give them some of their daily food allowance. So they start to be thinking, oh, noise, food, noise, food, noise, food, big noise. Maybe they'll think food, maybe they won't. The point is that actually we're helping them as much as we can. And so in doing that, we're controlling what we can control. And then in the moment, we're saying, you know what, I'm not going to make this picture 100% better, but I'm going to try my hardest to make it 10% better. And in doing that, then we get through this time. And then ahead of next year, how about you have an action plan and, 12 months to work on it? Imagine where you're going to be then.
And remember, guys, this is fireworks. We've got New Year coming. So there's actually time between that you can make progress and assess and see where you are. Now, obviously, we know that fireworks is a testing time. You're an amazing owner. Your dog is very, very, very lucky to have you. We also know that a lot of owners don't know anything about this. They really know nothing about Absolute Dogs. They know nothing about the Training Academy or Sexy and a Squirrel or the podcast or the YouTube or anything that we do. They just don't know. We would love you to make it your mission to share this with at least one other person, but maybe even 5, 10, 15, 20. There is no limit to who you can share it to. It's completely free. It's a give back to dogs all over the world to enable them a better future with their owners and to enable the owner's future to be way happier too. We don't want to imagine anybody sitting around fireworks periods or New Year's periods, upset, sad, lonely with their dog, not knowing what to do. We want this to be a ripple. We want to create, in fact, a tidal wave here. We know that this is content that everybody should get to hear. Anybody who's a dog owner should be able to hear this. So please make it your mission to share it. You literally can share it in so many different ways. Most of all, make it happen. We want this to be out there.
That was this episode of the podcast. We will see you in the next episode. And remember,
stay sexy!
Hey, before you go, have you taken part in the worldwide Sexier Than a Squirrel challenge?
It's a 25-day online video program, huge energy, amazing community, and over 100,000 people are already taking part.
The only question is, you know where you are today. Where do you want to be in 25 days from now? Head to absolutedogs.me/sexy.